Over the years, because he's my brother, I've dealt with certain things, but something he said during Kelly's brain treatment has stuck with me. My son TJ has a child the same age as my eldest daughter, and he had a birthday party for him while my wife was undergoing brain therapy. My daughters wanted to attend, so I dropped them off and stopped by briefly to say hello. TJ, who's a heavy drinker, was already tipsy and insisted I stay for a drink. Since my mother-in-law was at home with my wife, I agreed to stay for one. TJ pulled me aside and asked how Kelly was doing. I got a little emotional and explained that she was very sick and it was tough to see her suffer. Then, TJ said something that floored me. He told me, not to sound harsh, but the best thing for everyone would be for her to pass away quickly rather than drag it out. He said she didn't deserve to suffer and that the girls and I wouldn't be able to move on with our lives until she was gone. I was stunned. I had told the family that Kelly was seriously ill and that her life was at risk, but her chances of survival were strong. I don't know if TJ wasn't listening or just didn't care, but I have no idea why he assumed Kelly was dying. Hearing him speak about it so casually, especially when my wife was fighting so hard to stay with us, was incredibly painful. In that moment, I should have told him how hurtful his words were, but I was too exhausted and upset to do anything other than return home to Kelly. I never told her about the conversation because she had enough to deal with. Over time, others, including my mom and Kelly, have noticed that I've distanced myself from TJ and avoid him at family events. I should mention that my other brother, my parents, and close friends were incredibly supportive during that difficult time. They regularly checked in on us. My brother recently told me he wished my wife would pass away while she's in the hospital fighting for her life. Just when I thought he couldn't be more cruel, he invited me on a vacation to ignore my wife. I'm on the verge of cutting him off, but my parents are pleading with me to forgive him. I'm a 41-year-old man, and I've been with my wife Kelly, also 41, since college. We have 3 daughters, aged 12, 10, and 9. 2 years ago, Kelly was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Although her prognosis was hopeful under the circumstances, it was a terrifying time for our family. Kelly became very ill and had to undergo chemotherapy and a procedure to remove her ovaries. Thankfully, she's now in remission, though doctors are still closely monitoring her in case the cancer returns. My older brother, TJ, is smart, successful, and fun, but he's also self-centered and often says hurtful things. It's not that he can't filter his words, he just lacks empathy and doesn't care enough to be considerate. While I've overlooked many of his rude remarks, his behavior during Kelly's illness has been especially disappointing. Despite our family struggles, TJ made no real effort to help. He asked about Kelly at family events and occasionally called me to hang out, but he never visited her in the hospital or offered to help with our girls. Instead, he even invited me on a trip to Vegas with his friends while Kelly was undergoing treatment, as if nothing serious was happening in my life. When I told him I couldn't leave Kelly in such a vulnerable state, he insisted I needed a break and that the trip wouldn't be fun without me. This past weekend, my daughters stayed over at my mom's house, and she asked if I'd seen TJ recently. When I said no, she mentioned she'd noticed. I haven't been spending much time with TJ lately. I shared the conversation from my nephew's party with my mom and explained how hurtful it was. I asked her to keep it between us. My mom was shocked and said it was a terrible thing for him to say. I told her I needed some space from TJ, but she encouraged me to talk things through with him. She explained that people handle difficult situations differently and don't always know the right thing to say. I told her it felt like TJ didn't care enough about what Kelly was going through to even think about what he was saying or how he could help. I also said that I didn't see myself maintaining a close relationship with him moving forward. My mom urged me to show him some grace, share how I'm feeling, and give him the chance to apologize. I don't know if it makes me a jerk, but I'm honestly not interested in hearing what he has to say. Does that make me the bad guy?